Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Beth and I am the Bookworm Trait. And today I am bringing you a rather late Sims Picks My TBR. So if you watched my TBR last month, then you'll know I had a lot of books on there. Did I achieve it? No, obviously I did not. Let's be real, it was never gonna happen. So last month I was hoping to read 10 books and I read 6 and I didn't manage to complete any of my challenges in full. So I did Bookathon, I didn't read all the books for that. I did the Magical Readathon, I didn't read all the books for that. And I did Sims Picks My TBR and I didn't read all the books for that either. But I read 6 books, which isn't terrible. I would usually quickly go over these in this video, but because there are so many books that I did and didn't get to, I am going to do a full wrap up where I'll talk about the books that I didn't get to as well. So for now, we're just going to jump straight into my TBR for this month. So if this is your first time watching, how Sims Picks My TBR works is I will use a random trait generator to generate 3 traits, 1 aspiration, and with that aspiration, you get a bonus trait as well. I have assigned each trait, aspiration and bonus trait with a reading prompt. And if you want to see what these are, you can find these linked in the description below alongside the random trait generator. So this month, the traits that I got were mean, and for this I need to read my longest book. Great. I got the active trait, and for this I need to read a book that features sports or games or a competition of some sort. And my final trait was vegetarian, and for this I need to read an indie book. My aspiration is good vampire, which perfect for October. And the bonus trait that comes along with good vampire is gregarious, and this is to read a hyped book. Now, just before I tell you about the books that I've picked, I am also taking part in Spookathon. I think it's called Spookathon. I didn't write it down, nor did I write down the host name. So I will tell you who those are here, and I will also link their announcement videos in the description below as well if you want to take part. And actually, Sims Picks My TBR really helped me out this month because I was able to completely combine these prompts. I have also tried to pick, I'm going to say thematic book for the spooky season. They are not all scary books. In fact, I don't know if any of them are scary books, but there's lots of just like spooky vibes, dark vibe. I would also like to take part in Gothtober, but I don't want to overwhelm myself like I did in September. So I will just see how I get on and maybe pick up a couple of books at the end of the month that can fit the prompts for Gothtober. So jumping into my TBR for this month. So the first trait I got was mean. I hate this trait. This is to read my longest book. Now, I hate long books. They scare the shit out of me. But one of my recent purchases was an incredibly long book. And so the book that I am reading for this is a book that I'm really excited to get to. And that is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Now, thinking about it, I do own Wheel of Time, which technically I think is longer than this. Might not be actually. But I only just thought about that now. So I am sticking with this one. So I bought this book because I love Piranesi. Piranesi is one of my favourite books of all time. So I really wanted to read Susanna Clarke's other books. And I know that this book is very loved in the bookish community. I also do know that they are very different, but I still think I'm just going to love this. So this is a book set in England during the Napoleonic War. And it is about a feud between 2 wizards. I think one is older, one is younger. I don't know a great deal about the plot of this book. That's literally all I know, but I love to go into a book blind. And my expectations are incredibly high. I think this is going to be a 5-star read. I am scared about the size, but it'll be fine. Let's be positive. It'll be fine. So the next trait that I had was active, and this is to read a book that contains some kind of activity. So whether that be a competition of whatever sort, sports, games, anything that kind of really fits that vibe. So the book that I have gone to in true Beth fashion only loosely fits this prompt, and that is The Only Good Indian. This is a book that I have wanted to read since it came out. I wanted to buy it for my birthday, but I ended up buying different books. But the audiobook is available on Scribd, so that's how I will be consuming this. Now again, don't know a great deal about the plot. I think because this is a horror book, the plot isn't really talked about too much so as to avoid spoilers, but I believe this centres around Indigenous mythology, and it follows a group of guys who are haunted by, at least this is what I think it's about. I could be completely wrong. So it's about a group of guys who are haunted by like the ghost of a deer that they killed during a hunt. That's what I think it's about. Now, whilst I personally find hunting absolutely disgusting, I believe it is technically considered a sport, so I think it fits this prompt. Again, I'm going into this book with super high expectations. I am predicting 5 stars here, so I'm probably going to be disappointed, let's be honest. I'm probably going to be disappointed, but hopefully not. Fingers crossed. So my final trait was vegetarian, and for this I need to read an indie book. I know that is a very loose interpretation of vegetarian, but honestly, like, what prompt could you have with that is better? If you've got ideas, please let me know in the comments down below. Some of these prompts I really don't like, so I'm always trying to think of new ones to put in their place. But I kind of think like indie publishing is probably the most ethical form of publishing, self-publishing anyway, and being a vegetarian is ethical. So the book that I have gone for this, wanting something with kind of dark, full, spooky vibes, but the only real indie books that I read are romance. So I have gone with a gothic, dark academic romance. At least I believe it's dark academic, I'm not sure. And the book that I have gone for is The Headmaster. This is another book that's been on my radar for a long time, but I'm going into this with very low expectations because I'm not really in a romance mood. This is a job about a woman who gets a job at a very prestigious boarding school. It's a very isolated, strange school, and she ends up falling for the headmaster. I do believe this is a BDSM romance as well, though I am not sure, so don't quote me on that. So my aspiration was good vampire, and this is to read a vampire book. Really straightforward. This is just a great prompt to get in October, when better to read vampire book. And you can probably guess the book that I'm going for because this is probably the most hyped vampire book out at the moment. It is Empire of the Vampire. And this is the beautiful Illumicrate edition with these sprayed edges, which are just, I don't think there's anything more beautiful in this world. This book is set in a world where vampires have overtaken the human race, and it is in a forever night state. Our main character was part of an order that was fighting against the vampires, but he is the last one of the order and he has been captured. This book is basically him telling his story about the order and the wars that happened between them and the vampires. And I believe there's some biblical references in here as well, because I believe there's stuff about the Holy Grail. As always, don't quote me. This book started off as one of my most anticipated books of the year. It has since kind of dropped off that list. I'm just not that excited about it anymore. I'm not sure that this is going to be a 5-star read because reflecting on my history with J. Kristoff's writing, 9 times out of 10 I don't like his books. I just really loved the first 2 books in the Nevernight series. I don't like the last one. I liked Illuminae when I read it, but I don't think I would enjoy it going back to it, and I hated Aurora Rising. And I have no interest in the rest of his books. So, I don't know. If I had to predict, I think this is going to be like a 3-star read, a solid 3-star, but we will see. I will film a wrap up and we'll see how I get on with this one. Hopefully I'm wrong and it's a 5-star and I love it and it's perfect, but I just don't think it's going to go that way. So finally, my bonus aspiration is gregarious, and this is to read a hyped book. And this can be a book that's being hyped on Instagram, a book that's being hyped on YouTube, a book that's being hyped on book Twitter, a book that's being hyped by the bookshops, or just a book that's hyped to me. And I have gone with a book that I'm hyped to read, and this is Follow Me to Ground. I have seen quite a few booktubers read this this recently, and it is, I think, recommended by Books and Lala. So I would say it's like relatively hyped on BookTube, but I don't think it really is hyped enough to say that it's hyped by BookTube. So I'm just saying this is hyped to me. I am hyped to read this rather than this is hyped to me, because that doesn't really make sense. This is, I believe, a creepy folklore kind of story. So again, trying to find books that are thematic to October. This is about a girl and her father who have magical powers where they heal people by burying them in the ground. But the daughter falls in love with someone and has to make a choice between her father and her suitor. Very loose explanation again, don't really know what it's about again, but I'm super hyped to read it. Another 5-star prediction. So high expectations for not just this book, but this entire reading month. So I'll now just quickly run through which Spooktober prompts each of these books is going to fit. I did just check and it is Spooktober. There is also a group book, which is In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. I don't think I'm going to read the group book. If I do, you'll hear about it later. So their first prompt is Dark Academia, and for this I will be reading The Headmaster. Their second prompt is a BIPOC author. For this I will be reading The Only Good Indians, which is by an Indigenous author. The next prompt is Morally Grey, and I am going to be fitting Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell in for this prompt. I'm not sure if these characters are morally grey, but they do practice dark magic, so I feel like this is going to fit in. For Witchcraft and Folklore, I'll be slotting in Follow Me to Ground. I think this has a kind of folklore vibe to it. If not, I guess there's a kind of witchcraft in how the girl and her father actually heal people. So I'm saying it fits. The final prompt is Halloween Elements, and for that I will be slotting in Empire of the Vampire, because obviously vampires are Halloweeny. So those are all the books on my TBR for this month. This may have been the shortest TBR video I have ever filmed. I haven't been talking for very long. It's kind of scary. But if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up to let me know you were here. If you've read any of these books, or you've got any recommendations for me, or if you've got any prompt suggestions for me, please let me know that in the comments down below. Please don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more from me in the future, and hopefully you will come back and see me in another video soon. Bye!